Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 9th May 2020. Day is Saturday, and I would like to start today's discussion with this positive quote. Positive anything is better than negative nothing. I have observed this thing. I know this thing from my experience as well, and I'm sure you will relate this thing with your experience too, that when we start something new, on one side we feel bad that we are not having that much speed. Let's say if you start learning something new, or if you start let's say a new subject that you want to know more about, then in your starting phase your speed is naturally going to be slow. But I don't know why we feel that it gives us a sense of it does not satisfy us, I think. But we need to understand this thing, that this is how it works, right? This is the nature of doing something new. In the starting phase, our speed is not going to be that great. We may fall many a times, but that's how it works. But if we hang on, if we stick to our goals, right, then we will see speed, we will see rapid progress, but it will take a bit of time. So the most important thing for us to understand when we are doing something new is that positive anything is better than negative nothing. Even if our progress is 0.1% every day, if we are increasing with just 0.1% speed, then as well it's good, it's positive. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ has launched a smart course. Now this smart course is designed by the best faculties of our country. They have covered both pre and mains syllabus and topics. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is just to download our mobile application on your mobile phone, and you will know everything about our smart course. To download the PDF of today's lecture, check out my Telegram channel. You can get in touch with me if you want to send me message and things. Then this is my FB page here. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today is Saturday, and on our table we have total 4 articles. The first one is about foreign policy. It's about geopolitics. Second one is about a thing called FGM. This, what it is all about, we'll go through it, and it's about a female thing, right? Female genital mutilation. It's a very bad practice. We'll talk about it in detail. Then we have contempt for labor. This one is about liberal labor laws in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, etc. And the fourth one is about economics. We'll talk about these 2 topics in detail. Of course, I have covered these 2 topics in daily financial news analysis. But anyway, we will talk about this too because it is on our table today. So, shaping India's response in global hinge moment. Things are not that clear as far as geopolitics is concerned. World is fragmenting. We can see a few countries, they want to stick with their old mates. A few countries, they want to stay independent. They don't want to step into anyone's umbrella, like they don't want to be in Russia's team or in China's team or in USA's team. Some of them, small island nations, they have their own friendships as well as their own team, right? And their main concern is different. They want to protect themselves and protect the world from this rising sea level and climate change and other things. On the other side, as far as economy is concerned, things were not going that great last year in 2019 because of this trade war between number 1 and number 2 biggest economies in the world. They are in fact today as well, they are against each other. This trade war is going on, and we have talked about trade war, so I'm not going into the details of trade war, but these are a few things that I want you guys to understand. That trade war was going on, so economical progress was not that great last year. And this year, we know in 2020, they had this deal in January, US and China. And after that, we know what's going on between these 2 countries. And around the world as well, this lockdown thing is going on. So this is going to impact the global growth. And remember our discussion that in financial crisis of 2007-8-9, the global growth was down by minus 0.1% or something. But this time it's going to be minus 3%. So you can imagine the impact that this lockdown is going to have on our economy. So more fragmentation will take place, more problems will take place. Challenges are ahead of us. When I say us, I'm talking about the whole world. And the center of gravity has changed as well. We have new powerful countries rising in Asia Pacific region. Now Asia Pacific region is on your screen, right? Earlier on, Asia Pacific was given more importance, but now I would like to take it further to Indo-Pacific. You have all these countries that are part of this region, particularly India, China. You have other countries like South Korea, Iran, Vietnam, Indonesia. These are the countries that are, they are becoming part of this whole power gravity of the world, or this gravity point of the world, right? Particularly India and China. So things are going to be a bit different. There is a rapid change in the world, and uncertainty is also kicking this new arms race that is going on, this cutthroat race that is going on between different countries, this competition. USA wants to save itself from various different issues that are going on around the world. So, this America first attitude of USA, it wants to step out of this Afghanistan as well. And you know that Afghanistan means things are not that clean and neat in Afghanistan. But USA, we don't know what will happen exactly when USA will step out from Afghanistan. So there are a few countries, there are a few experts who are saying that we need to have a sort of strategic alliance with a few countries. Like some of them are suggesting that we should stick with USA's team. Some of them are saying that we should stay with China, and there are many things that we can learn from China, and if you stay with China because China is our neighbor and things like that. But this article, this writer who is former national security advisor, he is right. He is saying that we should stay independent, right? We don't need any sort of alliance. He has not talked about this thing, but I would like to add here this 3Ds. 3Ds of India. 3Ds of India are first one is democracy. We are democratic country. Second one is our demography. That means our young population. 60% plus population is young. 60-65% is young population. And then we have demand, because you have young population, right? Young population, they need so many things. So demand is also here. So I believe there is no country, I'm talking about major economies, of course small economies, but as far as China, USA, Russia, other nations are concerned, they want to do business with India. They want to sell their products and services to India. They can manufacture things over here, right? We know that there are so many companies of USA, they want to exit China, so they are looking for alternative destination. They have other options, and India is also a good option if we know how to promote ourselves. If we can provide that right mix, right, then we can attract this business that is exiting China. We can attract this business, and this can help us create jobs and other things. So the best for us, keeping in this 3Ds in mind, right, it is better to keep India's powder dry and free to pursue its own national interest. See, this is a reality that every nation will look after its own back first, right? First priority is national interest. If we stick with USA, there are going to be some positive things, but there are going to be some negative things as well. If we stick with just China, again, plus and minus. So the best is, how about make the most out of their issues? I'm not saying that India is a cunning country, right? I'm not saying that we should play this dirty games of let them fight with each other and make the most. No. Of course, India is one of the most important country in the world. When I say important, I mean to say a global leader countries, right? It is part of this global leader league. So, of course, we don't want these two countries to fight with each other. This is not going to be beneficial for India, but we should keep an equidistance. See, we are capable of doing this. We have good relationship with the USA. At the same time, we have good relationship with Russia. We have good relationship with Israel, right? We have good relationship with Iran. We have good relationship with Saudi Arabia as well. And you know that these three countries are rivals. But then as well, India can handle all three of them. We have this bilateral, very good relationship with all these countries that are rival, each other's rivals. We can do the same thing with China as well. Now, remember this whole Doklam issue It was basically about Bhutan and China, but India, we have a friendship treaty with Bhutan. So if anyone will try to bully Bhutan, then India will. India is like a protector of Bhutan, right? We have this sort of good friendship with Bhutan, and it's about our chicken snack as well. So it's a strategic, thing. Like if you allow China to reach here, and if they start making military buildings and other things over here, then if there is any sort of war in future, right, then it can directly attack this portion, and it can cut our whole northeastern portion. Right, we won't be able to reach this northeastern portion if China is here. So this is called chicken snack area. So this is again a very strong reason. This was one of the strong reason, and Bhutan's friendship treaty with us. So these were the two main reasons that we were, we were head on head with China. And both nations realized that having a sort of conflict with each other is not going to be beneficial for both of us. So we had this good informal meeting between Mr. Modi and Mr. Xi Jinping. Prime Minister visited Wuhan, and then last year Xi Jinping visited India. Before that, in 1988, Rajiv Gandhi visited China. Right, before that we had a war, and for a very long period of time relationship was not that great. But anyway, after this Doklam issue, Prime Minister visited China, and then Chinese president, he was here in India. So we talked about so many things. So basically the gist is that we know that problems or fighting with each other is not going to help us, and we do understand this thing as well, that we are neighboring countries, so we are going to have some sort of problems all the time. So cooperation and competition, these are the two C's that are part of India-China relationship, and we have to live with it, right? The bigger goal of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is to make India a Vishwa Guru, right? A global leader or a world teacher. But this is not possible until we stop, we are at present as well importing knowledge and technology. When I say knowledge, I'm not talking about studies, I'm talking about this innovations and other things. We are importing this sort of things from different parts of the world, even energy, technology, essential goods like fertilizers, coal, commodities, access to markets, capital, etc. We are importing so many things from China and from different parts of the world. And we have to. I'm not saying that is all bad, but if we want to, let's say, if we want to become a world teacher, right, then first of all, we have to create outstanding services and outstanding products. There are few people who say that we should stop buying things from China. That will not work, right? That will not work. What you have to do is you have to create excellent, outstanding products and services in our country so that we can export things, right? The reason why we have to import things from China is because we are not producing those services and products over here. We are not that good. That's why we are importing. So if you want to export more and if you want to reduce your imports, then you have to create excellent products, new products, innovative products. For that, you have to have a good foundation, and we should work on good foundation. So that's basically everything about this topic. The second one is eradicate it. This one is about female genital mutilation. It's a very bad, a very sad process that is conducted on sexual organ of small girls in various different parts of the world. Unfortunately, there are a few communities in our country, they practice this thing called FGM, and there are a few myths about this FGM. FGM is a religious obligation. That is false. FGM is not supported in any major religious texts, and moreover, many religious leaders believe that this tradition should end, and this should end. It impacts a girl's psychology, it impacts her body, it impacts her sexual life, right? So this thing is anti-human. Second thing, men do not support the abandonment of FGM. This is also false. In most countries where data exists, the majority of boys and men think FGM should end, right? And then if you go through the figures, then you find that at least 200 million women and girls alive today have undergone FGM in 30 countries where representative data is available. This particular item is in news because Sudan, a country that is, is in a sort of transition from dictatorship to democracy. It was in news last year, and because of this, there was a person called Bashir. He ruled Sudan for nearly 30 years, and there was a protest, and it's basically heading towards a democracy, which is a good thing. So Sudan has decided to outlaw the practice of FGM, and this is a landmark victory for the women's right in Sudan. I have a question for you. Can you give me the name of the capital of Sudan, and also tell me the name of a very important river that passes through Sudan? So these are your two questions. Now, hundreds of Sudanese professionals, they spearheaded this protest, and they were against this FGM because roughly 87% of Sudanese women, they have their external genitalia removed on non-medical grounds. So this is a sort of a tradition or a practice or a sort of ritual, right? A local ritual. And this local ritual is not limited to just Sudan. You find it in various different countries. As I told you, unfortunately, in India as well, there are a few communities they practice this sort of thing. And then you have this Somalia, the country with the highest prevalence rate, but no legal ban. And just legal ban is not going to help until and unless this consciousness of society, if that is not there, if consciousness, if awareness is not there, then you won't see that good or great results. So here, all of us as human beings, we have to take a stand against this FGM. Now, this topic is about contempt for labor. The revival of business and economic activity after weeks of forced closure is indeed a key objective to be achieved. And this is something that every state, every government, not just in our country, but in various different parts of this world, we want to get back to normal as quickly as possible. And one way of doing is making our economy or restoring our economy as quickly as possible. Now, for making things or to add more speed to this back to normal process, there are various different states. They have changed labor laws. For example, Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh has embarked on a plan to give a boost to business and industry by allowing units to be operated without many of the requirements of Factories Act. Like they have changed, Inspector Raj is gone. More flexibility is given to companies. They can extend working hours from 8 hours to 12 hours. Weekly hours are gone up to 72 hours. You can hire and fire more easily. You don't have to maintain a register. Same thing goes with Uttar Pradesh as well. They have changed a few rules associated with labor laws. Of course, some basic things will stay, like child and bonded labor is not allowed, protecting women employees, and these are the things that are there, that are going to be there. That I believe, right? These things are going to be everywhere, pan-India. But few things like flexibility in working hours, wages, and other things are more liberal now. That's what these governments are working on. And they think that by doing this thing, it's going to be much quicker, much easier. But I don't thoroughly agree with this move. I think what we need now is, of course, restoring economic activities is one of the most important priority of the nation. But you cannot allow laborers to get exploited that they used to get earlier on. And this is the reason why we have seen this mass exodus of people. Why we don't see this thing in USA or in UK? Because over there, even though they had more cases, or they have in fact more cases than us, then as well we don't see this sort of exodus, because people know that they will get help from their government, because over there maximum people are working in an organized sector. In our country, the situation is that you have total 500 million workforce. Out of this 500 million, only 50 million are working in organized sector, 450 are working in unorganized sector. And out of this 450, you have a very small chunk of workforce who get insurance cover, who are covered by this slip and trip insurance. If something goes wrong, if they lose their job in the places that they are working, though it is unorganized, they are getting so many facilities. But I'm talking about a very small chunk, right? 90% of this 450 million, they don't have any sort of safety nets. So if something goes wrong, right, nothing is there to protect them. They're free fall. They will hit the ground hard, right? They don't have any sort of safety net that will protect them. So I think this is the right time for the government to take a stand and provide at least some basic insurance or basic things. Like, I know this will increase our, so far we have been taking this pride in this thing that labor price in our country is very cheap. It is not cheap. The reason why it is cheap is because you are not providing any sort of this safety nets. If you compare India's wages with China pays $3 per hour. $3 per hour, roughly speaking, 210 rupees per hour. In our country, millions of people, right? They work full day, 8 hours, 9 hours, back-breaking work, hard work, for just 200 rupees or 250 or 300 rupees for the whole day. In China, they get per hour. Now, you will argue that, okay, China is ahead of us. It's fine, right? Yes, it is ahead of us. I'm not saying to make it 1,000 rupees per hour. I'm saying at least make it 500 rupees per day. And, provide some sort of 100 rupees extra for, means this will be covered by a sort of insurance that if something goes wrong, then government or the company will be covered. That if you are hiring someone, then you will have, or let's make it this way, that every labor, right, they should have this Aadhaar card and provide an insurance on their Aadhaar card, in the sense that individuals will be covered. It doesn't matter if they are working in as under this MG or somewhere else. If they get any sort of slip or trip, if they get hurt, if their income is under threat, then government will provide them a sort of income, right? Let's say 7,500 rupees or 10,000 rupees per month till they find a sort of job, right? And we will find many people, they will exploit it. They will not go to work, but this will be only for some sort of emergencies and accidents, right? Not for normal conditions. If you cannot find a job, then government will not give you 10,000 rupees. Then you can work under MG Narega. You can do that sort of work. So we can work this thing out. What I'm saying is we should have more proper protection for labor, so we don't see this sort of situation of mass exodus, right? Moving on to next item is about a slower growth and a tighter fiscal. Now the thing is, the topic that we were discussing, this labor topic, and this one, growth as well as economic development and what will happen in future as far as this lockdown and exit strategy is concerned, we have covered and we have discussed these things in daily financial news analysis. So regular students, for you guys, this is going to be a repetition, but stay with me, stick with this discussion, because it will help you with revision as well, right? So from that point of view, it is going to be beneficial for those students who are not aware about daily financial news analysis, or if you're not following it, I'll recommend you guys to follow it. And the other thing is, we are going to talk about these things that we find in this article, so don't worry about it. We are not going to miss anything. Now the thing is, if you go through various different agencies like Fitch, they have said that India's growth rate this year is going to be 0.8%. I will say it's not that bad. All right, as far as we are in positive, it's okay, right? Asian Development Bank is saying that we will hit 4.0%. I think this will change, right? It's not going to be 4.0 for sure. IMF is saying 1.9%. Again, not bad. So why we find this big, you can say big variety? The reason is because of uncertainty. No one knows what the future is holding for us, and not just our country, but for the whole world. If you see global growth, it is going to be minus 3.0%. Minus 3 is big thing. If you compare it with the financial crisis of 2007-8-9, At that point of time, global growth was somewhere around minus 0.1%, and then as well it was huge. So minus 3.0 is going to be even bigger, even more painful, even more deep than financial crisis of 2007-8-9. So the actual outcome of India would depend on the speed at which the economy is opened up, the time it takes to contain the spread of virus, and the government's policy support. So in this article, we find that the writers, they have divided various different sectors into 4 groups. You have A group. So you have agriculture, forestry, fishing. Then you have public administration, defense, and other services. They are part of A group. Then you have B. You have mining and quarrying, financial, real estate, professional services. They fall in this B group. You have C, manufacturing. And then you have, in B we have some more items. Sorry about that. We have construction, electricity, gas, water supply, and other things are part of this B. And in D, you have trade, hotels, transport, communication, etc. So as far as this A group is concerned, public administration, agriculture, things are going to be near, they are not going to be that bad. Agriculture production, rabi production is going on, harvesting is going on, and monsoon is going to be good as well. So production is going to be okay. We have seen a bit of disruption, and I do understand that there has been huge losses of items like vegetables, perishable items, but recovery is going to be nearly at 90%, right? So 90% is not bad. Group D is the worst affected, right? Hotels, restaurants, travel, tourism, very bad situation. Communication, good. Other places, other things, very bad. So recovery is going to be somewhere around 30%. Group B, roughly 50%. Mining and quarryings, water supply, electricity, gas, construction. Construction has already resumed in various different parts of our country, real estate, professional services. So 50% recovery compared to what was the compare this thing with last year's growth. Things are going to be around 50%. And Group C, where you have this things in Group C, we have manufacturing. Right now, manufacturing, we know that many factories were closed, and they are even off today, but few activities are on. So progress is going to be, or growth is going to be, performance is going to be 40%, which is again not that bad, but it is going to be painful because manufacturing is associated with jobs. So overall, what this article is saying that monetary policy is not going to be enough. Fiscal stimulus is something that is required, of course, and before Corona as well, things were on downslide. Revenue collection was down. Remember, GST collection was down. This income tax, direct income tax was down as well. So revenue-wise, the government was under stress. And now we have this coronavirus and lockdown. So it's going to add more pain, and it's going to be more, painful as well. It's going to be more challenging for the government to inject that much money. Now there are various different lobbies. They are asking for a big, large stimulus package, but large stimulus package is not possible. We have to go step by step, right? We can have options like console bonds or a sort of public bonds. You can issue bonds and people will invest, and you can use this money for a stimulus package. But again, these 3 things are the most important things, right? Here they are. Speed at which the economy is opened up, right? For that we need vaccine or medicine and government's policy support. So these are the 3 things that will decide the future, how it's going to be. Monetary policy wise, government has, or RBI has reduced repo rate. It has opened several special LTRO, TLTRO and things like that. Now government's stimulus package will depend on the borrowing. We cannot borrow that much. It's like we can get money. Government can easily get money from the market, but this will be a sort of loan on the government. You have to pay interest and principal, so this will add more pain. So we have to be a bit careful here, and that's everything as far as articles are concerned. You have some news items here. Dear friends, today I was affected with this power cut. I had like 3-4 power cuts this morning, so The lectures are very late. I beg your pardon for that. Tomorrow is Sunday, so no lectures tomorrow. I will see you directly on Monday. Let me take you through some news items. 103 deaths and 3,390 new cases of coronavirus. Recovery rate is not that bad, 29.36, somewhere around 29%. 16 MP migrants run over by train near Aurangabad. They slept on track. Very unfortunate, very painful incident. Green Tribunal directs LG Polymers to deposit 50 crore rupees. Vardhan for a mix of curbs and relaxation. The Supreme Court asks states to consider online sale of liquor. Very important. We have seen this big snake queues, right? And this is bad. This will... It means this should be done online, right? Home delivery is the best thing. US Special Envoy urges India to talk with Taliban. Navy ship evacuates 698 from Maldives. India, Japan to work together post COVID-19. Vande Bharat mission is on. Rajnath opens new road to Kailash Mansarovar. I want you guys to go through this full points and make sure you locate this thing on your map book as well. China US commit to implement a trade deal despite a row over virus. India sends essential medicines to Sri Lanka. US pulls out Patriot missiles batteries from Saudi Arabia. Right now, threat from Iran is not that great. So this is the reason why it has pulled out this Patriot batteries. And Europe US marks 75 years since end of World War II. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much. I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.